everybody, welcome back to my little creative corner here in Cumbria in the UK. Welcome to you all, whatever time of day it is you're watching this. How lovely to have you here with me. I am recording this on a beautiful sunny bright morning. We've had a lot of frost overnight. For the first time we've had real white grass outside and frosty stuff on the trees and stuff, which is lovely after we've had some very grey days with no sunshine some days. I don't know what it's been like where you are. We've had a lot of greyness, so the sunshine is most welcome, even though I've had to sort of fiddle around in my little room to try and make it so it's not quite too leery, otherwise I turn into sort of this weird ghost if I'm not careful. Because I've got windows on two sides and it's a tiny space, teeny tiny space, but I'm loving it. I feel so comfortable in here now. I've really settled in. I feel as though it's my space. It's where I come to do whatever it is I want to do, whether it's just some simple straight sewing, because I've always got things to do, little projects, things to repair or things to make from scratch. And I'm just loving coming in here, knowing it's my stuff, my space. I feel like I'm at home in here now, which is really lovely. So welcome to my little homely corner. I don't know what we're going to be doing today. I've been very bereft of ideas lately. I don't know if you've noticed. It's an interesting thing. I feel as though I've had a big shift. Because I've come into this different space, I feel as though I'm not who I was. When I was in my big studio, I felt like I was this textile artist trying to do this thing. And now I feel as though it's much more intimate here. It's much smaller. It's much more cosy. I feel as though there's something different going on inside of me in terms of my creating. I love what I'm doing, there's no change there, but it's just more about how I'm approaching things now, how I'm doing things from a fairly gentle standpoint, because there's no big deal. Nothing's a big deal. It's just about pure enjoyment. And if ever I stop enjoying making these films or stop doing what I'm doing, enjoying what I'm doing, then I will simply stop. It's as simple as that. I don't know about you, but I don't do things I don't enjoy anymore. I can choose. So it's been an interesting week. On Saturday morning, you'd have laughed to see this. My husband went to the local builder's merchant. We've got some building work going on and we needed some what do you call it, plasterboard. Okay, so 8 foot by 4 foot sheets of plasterboard. They're really quite big, and I thought, oh, that's fine, he'll go and get them. They're not heavy, he'll be able to carry them. I forgot we'd ordered, they're like soundproof ones, so they've got a greater density to them, so they weigh an absolute ton. They've got a little sign on them with two little men carrying these things, and they weigh, I don't know, 35 kilos or something. So, I mean, I can lug things. I have built up my strength. I can lift feed sacks that are 20 kilos, and I'm quite good at that now. I've built up to doing those things, but you'd have laughed. I mean, we carried the first one to where it's got to go, and honestly, I thought my arms were going to drop off. I didn't know what to do. We couldn't put it down because it would get damaged and wet, and then it started to rain. So we had to cover up the ones in the trailer and try and carry these other ones down. But what we did was we stopped. We went, well, we can't carry it like that anymore. That's no good. That didn't do either of us any good, even though obviously he's a lot stronger than I am. So we had to stop and think, and we put a table strategically so that we could take the board so far, put it on the table, turn it around so that we could then lift it and carry it into the room where it's going. And we had to work out a strategy and stop. But we had to stop and think and wait and see what the answer might be that would improve how we were doing this thing. So we did it, and we had about 8 or 9 boards to move, and the last 8 or 9, the last of the 8, because we'd moved one, and the last ones were so much easier to do. I mean, it was still hard work, don't get me wrong, it was quite hard graft, but because we'd worked out what to do, it was just that much easier to do. So there was a big life lesson in there somewhere. Don't rush into it. Stop and think. Don't just do what, leap into this thing. So anyway, important thing is they're in place now for the builder to come and use them, which is fantastic. It was a big achievement, and we worked on it together, which was lovely. Together we managed to do it. And I think that's like a message, isn't it? On my own, on his own, he couldn't have carried them. But we did it together and we found the strength to do it, which was quite interesting. So as I say, you have to laugh at these things, and if anybody had been watching, they would have been laughing with us, or actually if they'd been watching, they could have jolly well come and helped us, and that would have made it even easier. So today we're going to get on with this funny little pink piece that I started last week, made out of nothing. let's see where it's going to take us today. Okay, so this is where we kind of ended last week. I showed you that I'd embellished all these little pieces down. I don't know if you can see the back. You can see all the colours coming through. This is the lovely thing about the embellishing machine, is it just pushes all the colours together. And I've just let everything come out of that jam jar. This was the jam jar, in case you weren't here last week. I just literally took all my waste threads and stuff out of this lovely jam jar and popped them onto this piece of waste fleece. And now I'm thinking about what I'm going to do next. And I think what I'm going to do next is got a piece of, this is a piece of stabilizer. If you don't know what that is, it just means a stiff sort of backing. That means when I stitch into this with free machine embroidery, it will not eat up my fabric and make it all bunched up. So I'm going to go choose some lovely threads and I'm going to stitch into this, and we're just going to do it like a step at a time and see where that's going to take us. At the moment I really like these rough edges, but it might be that we could turn those in, or we can put a backing on that actually, like a lining backing. But at the moment I think I just want to stitch it and see what happens. I don't really want to be thinking too far ahead on this one. I don't want to be planning it too much, so we'll just do some stitching. So, choosing some threads is my next mission. I feel as though we need a little bit of yellow in here, but maybe that's not the first one to start with. I think we'll have some purpley pinky, and a really dark purple. I may not use all of these, but I'm just going to see what might come if I put some of these in the mix. This is the lovely thing when you have all your threads. I mean, these are collected over many years. If you haven't got as many threads as me, don't worry, and if you've got more, well, good on you. It's a question of, you collect things, don't you, as you go around different places, different exhibitions, different shops. You see lovely colours and you think, oh yes, I'll have some of that please. And it's really helpful, but you know, you don't have to have this many. It can be a bit overwhelming sometimes choosing, can't it? So I think we need some nice pink, some really nice pinky sort of, and I think a bit of Larry green would be good too. So I think we'll start with those. I don't want too many, as I say. That's a nice arrangement there, and we'll start with those. Oh, I know, I was going to put some blue in. I got a couple of blues as well, because I just thought that would, when you put those all in together, that's really quite nice, I think. Okay, so I have got my lovely piece here and a piece of stabilizer underneath it. I haven't bothered pinning it because it's so small. And I've got my machine set up for free machine embroidery with a pretty little tangerine coloured thread, and lowered my feed dog teeth, darning foot on, and I've put my stitch length to 0 and put my presser foot down, of course, because if you forget to do that, the number of times I forget to do that, it's hilarious, and you just get knitting on the other side, don't you? Right, let's get going. No, that's not going, is it? Oh, do you know what? That's just undone itself, hasn't it? Best laid plans. Best laid plans. There we go. There we go. Happiness. What I love about making a piece like this is it's completely free, and you can sew wherever you want to sew and just please yourself. Okay, so I'm going to try and show you the stitching. I don't know if you can see, some of it is here. There's all sorts of little bits everywhere. It's such a mishmash now of fabrics and threads that were already on there, and then some really random reckless stitching. If I show you the back, you might be able to see a bit better what I've done. It's just really wild, really random, whatever came to me to do, I've done. So little bits of zigzag, little bits where I've just gone like that. Just having fun. It's really good fun to do something like this. So it doesn't really matter, I don't think, what colour threads I've used. Each individual thread has made its little mark on this piece, but it's the combination of them with the colours of what was underneath and the threads that were underneath that I embellished down, and then little bits of stitching here and there, which I presume you can sort of see. I've done some turquoisey there, some purpley there. So lots of different colours, but it's all the mingling. It's the mingling and the coming together that makes it work as a piece. And the overall thing of it is, it's just full of joy, isn't it? It's just full of vibrant colour and joy. I couldn't even bring myself to use a dark purple on it, to be honest. I was going to use a really dark purple, but I didn't really want it. So I've used about 4 colours, and that's been enough for it. So I'll just try and show you the whole thing here. The question is, what am I going to do with it next? It's lovely as it is, and as I said to you, I could be turning edges in, I could be lining it, I could be turning it into a different shape, you know, I could be perhaps putting it round in a circle like that. I don't know. I've got to really kind of just have a little feel into it and see what it wants me to do with it next. There are so many possibilities. I love it. I love it. And the fun bit has just been the making of it. It's just brought me so much joy just even to do this. If it didn't become anything else, I could just have it lying around and look at it and say, oh, you're lovely. Okay, so I've got myself a little piece of paper, and I'm just going to draw some little circles on here with my trusty little beautiful old spool of thread, which was probably one of my grandmother's. And I'm just going to draw some random circles, and I'm going to cut those out. A fairly terrible pair of scissors, but they'll do. So we'll just cut these circles out, and then we're just going to have a little look and see. This is all about just experimenting and playing and saying, well, what if I do this? What if I do that? You know, what would happen? And I have to say, I'm a very visual person. I can kind of feel things and imagine things, but I do like to actually try something, because I find that if I just do this process of trying something, that can often bring up other ideas, and I may or may not end up doing the first thing I think of, if you like, but it might bring in some other thoughts and ideas. Okay, so I've cut various sizes out, and look at that already. If I do that over that, doesn't that look interesting? I really love the way that that kind of frames different bits. If I just kind of do that, if I hide the other bits and all we see is those circles, oops, trying to do it so you only see the, there we go. When you only see the circles, isn't that beautiful? Because then you're really, really focusing on each little area. So I really like that. And I've got these little ones, the little version as well. If I do this, we'll just have a little look at a smaller version. Oops, sorry, it's a bit fiddly this. And I'm just making it up as I go along here. But I'm just really appreciating what that does in terms of showing you the beautiful surfaces that we've got going on here. So you could be, for example, you could cut this up quite nicely and make it into brooches. That would be lovely. One of the original thoughts I had was, I've got this lovely mug. I love my mug. It's from a big supermarket many years ago, and I absolutely love it. It's one of those random things that I picked up one day, and it's just been with me. And so it could be turned into something like that, a mug warmer. So something really practical. And I'm just playing around with it. See, even if you do that and you just get a segment, you know, you could be cutting slits. Oh, so many choices. So I'm going to leave it there for today, because I want to go away and have a little feel into it and a little think about it. But I'd love you to tell me in the comments what you would choose to do with this piece if it was yours. You know, would you just kind of fold it in and just kind of hang it on the wall somehow? Would you turn it into something to wear? Would you make it into something practical? or would you cut it up and make it into something else? I don't know. You let me know in the comments. I'd love to read what your creative ideas are and where your imagination would see you taking this, because I love how everybody has a different view on things. And I'll see you again here next week and we'll see what's going to happen. It's so exciting. Have a wonderful creative week. Bye for now. Ba-ba-da-ba-ba